Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Judging Nerd Culture. I'm Ollie.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're going to talk about the miseducation of someone.
Cameron Post.
Cameron Post. That's the one.
I literally just looked at it and just watched it.
I know, okay? I had it. I felt like I was going to confidently sail through that. And then I didn't. We're here to talk about the miseducation of Cameron Post. I don't actually know how new that movie is.
I think it came out sometime last year, maybe the year before. I remember seeing commercials about it, but not very much, because I think it was more of a, I don't know if it was an indie film exactly, but I know it was not as like big production or whatever.
Yeah, more of a little thing.
Mm-hmm. And we found this movie by scrolling through the YouTube movies, because at first I wanted to watch Little Women or Emma, but it turns out to rent that on YouTube is like $20.
Which is an absurd price. Like, no matter how good that movie is, $20 rental?
Well, it might be because it was in theaters. Because of how the world is right now, they had to go straight to YouTube or straight to movie. And so they still have to make some money off of it.
I guess.
But we found this movie, and I said, hey, at one point in my life, I did want to see this, so let's get it. And I recommend it. It's only, I think, $5-6 on YouTube to rent for 24, 48 hours, something like that. It's really good.
Yeah, it's splendid. Wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest.
It was better than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought it would be maybe a little cheesy, or it would go in a different direction, but it was pretty good. Yeah. I was pleased.
Me too. I 100% thought it was going to be some like really cheesy, well, this is what's happening now with like some whole lot of nonsense going on or whatever. Mm-hmm. But no, it took itself a lot more seriously, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And like there was plenty of humor and whatnot that just, it felt appropriate, and it felt like the humor was being made in times by the characters when it's like, well, here's who I am as a person. Might as well make some fun of this.
Yeah. Which is realistic.
Yeah, it felt good and right.
So, main character is Cameron Post, or Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, yeah?
I think that's how you say it. So this movie is about her being gay and getting caught. And it's like 1993,
It was 93.
Yeah.
Because it was the year I was born.
Right. And showing your age there.
Yes, very old.
But she is being raised, or at least living with people who are very religious, very Christian. In the sense it's the 90s. And the LGBTQIAXYZ is not accepted as well. They sent her to a camp, which I'm pretty sure they don't exist much anymore. Like, there's probably a few scattered here and there. Yeah. But I feel like in the 80s, 90s, there was a lot of them.
There's probably a few that aren't considered, re-education camps or whatever you want to call them, because one, that's a loaded term.
Yes.
But they're probably just more Christian camps to get away. Because I know that after a period of time, especially in the 2000s, there were so many people who were like self-harming or killing themselves, or bad things happening because of these pray the gay away camps, that people were just like, oh, this is bad. People are dying because of these things. And a lot of them were like closed down, or different things were put into place that made them a little harder to exist. And I think the ones that do exist currently kind of exist as, oh, we're not here for that. But like, if a gay comes our way, we tell them to pray. And they work around it by not specifically being for that, but definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really good. I enjoyed it.
Heck yeah.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, it was actually really good. The best part of it, without a doubt, was just all the characters.
Yes.
Like, obviously the story is impactful. It's an important thing that happened to a lot of people. It's very unfortunate. But the characters, that's the whole driving force. It's just who they are and learning about them. It's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, the story follows Cameron as she's caught macking out with her best friend / girlfriend in the car during like homecoming night, and her boyfriend catches her, and it's very bad.
Yeah, and it's like the way everyone reacts seems to be realistic at some level for a 90s homecoming thing. And I mean, boy or girl, female or male, whatever, if you find your
Girlfriend?
I don't know, girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever, cheating on you, you're gonna be upset. But but the way Cameron's boyfriend reacts when he finds them, he's like, oh my god, this can't be happening, this is so wrong, oh my god, disgusting, I hate this, oh my gosh, this can't happen to me.
And the funny thing is he's off in the back, like you don't see his face. He's just off camera slightly, looking over them, and you can hear him say, like, I can't believe this. Like, well, okay, that's up to you, I guess.
Are you sure you can't believe it? I mean,
but it was kind of funny, honestly.
And he was like, you know, he really looked like a teenager. Like, he had a little upper lip fuzz. He had kind of greasy hair that maybe he hadn't washed in a couple days. Like, she chose a beard, and I guess she just didn't care who she chose.
I guess.
Really.
Well, I mean, no, she was strategic. She chose the most average boy. Which, no offense to the actor. You look fine and dandy. But, like, character-wise, was just the most stunningly average person.
Yeah, he did a really good job at being the character. And then Coley, the best friend, she just starts bawling in the back seat. I mean,
yeah,
you did most of it.
Yeah, you were getting after it.
Yeah.
But, like, getting caught is terrifying, you know?
That's true. And she reacts much differently than Cameron. Cameron is obviously also freaked out, but she keeps her cool. You know, she tries anyway. She's like, get out of the car. Like, come on, stop crying. Get out of the car. We gotta go. She
keeps, she's the only one who's, like, trying to, like, see what's going on. Like, all right, he's freaking out. Nope, you're freaking out too. Fuck. We need to do something. Something needs to happen. But nope. She just has to sit there while one person, well, how could you do this? Another person just bawls her eyes out. Very uncomfortable.
And then she's sent away. But Coley gets to stay at home.
Yeah. I mean, different family.
Yeah.
Like, even though they were both part of the same Bible study, which is how they met, great. But, I don't know. I guess her parents just didn't care as much.
Well, it's probably also because later in the movie, this might be a little early for this, but
spoiler.
Cameron gets a letter from Coley that's basically saying, hey, it wasn't cool how you took advantage of our friendship and you put your gay on me and I was vulnerable or whatever. And you find out that Coley is actually not the boyfriend, but Coley was the one who turned herself and Cameron in to her parents. And so that's why I think Cameron went to camp and Coley didn't, because she probably went to her parents and was like, hey, Cameron did this to me. I feel so bad. I'm ashamed. I like boys, really. It's just she took advantage of me and our friendship and whatever. And so they were like, oh no, our sweet Coley, because like everybody loves you. You can't be gay.
Yeah. And this is much later on in the movie when we get this realization. But immediately she becomes the second worst character.
Oh yeah, she's the worst. Even like you could tell in the beginning and like middle of the movie that she probably wasn't the best person.
I mean, yeah, she seemed like the average, I'm not cool, let's have some fun and do some weird stuff.
But don't tell anyone, because everybody loves me. If they find out, then...
Yeah.
Oh well, some people are like that, and that's life. But it results in Cameron going to this camp, and I like how realistic it feels. How realistic it feels, because she goes through ups and downs of being like, is this really, like, am I actually sinning? Is this, like, something that's actually wrong with me? And, like, I'm a bad person? Did I actually take advantage of Coley? Like, did I do this because I'm some sort of monster? I'm evil, and I actually do need to pray, and I do need to get closer to God to become straight and to have a family and all this?
Yeah, it's really cool to see the whole evolution and change throughout the movie, because, like, she's not even religious for the majority of it, and she, even when she starts sort of, like, I don't know, feeling some sort of, like push towards it, it never seems like she's particularly religious either. But, like, there's still such, like, a progression of guilt to seeing, like, the way people react to her. She's feels so, I don't know, beat up about everything, and the way people judge her and how she feels with especially after talking to her friend. Like, that just sucks.
It sucks.
It felt so bad. I felt really genuinely sad about it.
There was a part where she's feeling particularly bad and guilty and just wrong about everything, and she goes into one of the offices and hides under the table and calls her stepmom, we find out. Not actually her mom. It's like her stepmom or aunt or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I know I feel really bad. I want to come home. If I told you I wanted to come home, would you let me? And then the woman starts kind of crying and is like, well, don't you want a family of your own? Like, I'm doing this because I love you for your own good.
Yeah.
And Cameron's like, yes, you know, like she wants her own family, but like in this situation, her mom is saying, don't you want a family that's stereotypical man, woman, children, like.
And also, like, this whole scene is, like, a big deal. A big part of it is that, like, the stepmom isn't even being, like, mean. Like, she genuinely feels like, oh no, you're doing this gay thing, and it's hurting your soul and all this stuff. And
which I liked. Yeah. No, I didn't like that, you know. She responded that way. But I feel like it's true to some people. Like, some people would take it very poorly and, like, be mean and, like, shun their child.
Yeah.
But she genuinely, like, not from a malicious place, wanted Cameron to get better because she genuinely thinks, you know, it's something bad. And I know people in my life who might react that way.
Yeah, and it's really uncomfortable because it's so realistic. And, like, obviously, she's not the good guy in this scenario. But she's
not completely bad.
Exactly, that's the thing. That's the thing with having this sort of belief set, is that, like, you do these things that hurt someone else, but you're doing it out of a place of, like, wanting to be loving, even if it's not always loving. And it's so weird. And this scene really did a good job of, like, emphasizing and highlighting that relationship.
I think so. Do you want to talk about the people who run the camp?
Oh yeah, the brother and sister duo.
Yes, Rick is the brother. He's like the main youth counselor. Definitely has those vibes. He wants to be cool. And Lydia. Rick and Lydia.
Rick, wonderful person, really sweet, kind individual. Lydia is a piece of crap.
Yes.
Oh boy, she's a rough one.
I mean, you find out that Rick, her brother, that she, like, was it reformed him, or, like,
she
cured him?
She was his first trial run at curing the gay.
And you can tell he's very unhappy. Like, he's doing his best. He's working so hard to, like, be the best youth pastor he can be and be straight. And he's dating this really boring teacher they have at the camp. And, like, from the outside, maybe they seem like a cute enough couple. But whenever they interact, you can see that he's just kind of, like, monotone. Like, he would rather be with a dude.
He would rather be doing anything, really. I really felt for Rick. Thank you.
He was one of my favorite characters. Because, like, he was trapped there just like them, basically. He didn't want to be there. But his sister is so, like, overpowering and manipulative.
Yeah, it's wild, their entire relationship dynamic, and just Rick's backstory without, like, we get his whole story without actually talking to him much. Like, he's not like one of the main characters where we see him do things. He talks to other characters and, like, hey, I'm going to help you because I had this in my life. But it's very brief. It's very quick. You see most of his like character development through how he deals with the things that happen in the camp and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh man, this guy.
Yeah. At first you think maybe he's doing it because he wants to or because he thinks it's the right thing to do.
And like,
then he cries.
He cries a lot. Yeah, it's wild because like there is with a few characters, including Rick, the sort of like brainwashy sort of taste to it, which is kind of the idea.
I mean, yeah, that's what they do there.
Yeah, and it's a little uncomfortable, and it's so so good. The actors did an incredible job of portraying that like internal like self conflict of trying to go with your programming versus feeling and doing and being a person. And it's fantastic.
Do you have a particular scene in the movie that really like struck you? Like, what was your most powerful scene, or just a scene that you really liked?
Honestly, I can't pick out one, but if I had to pick out a scene that like I remember right away, it's not anywhere near as powerful as many of the other scenes, honestly. But it's Rick crying. Like there are other scenes that are just as powerful, if not more, with Cameron and her whole existence and everything going on with her. But I don't know, the fact that you see this guy who's been through this program for so long, like he's been years at this. He's got a girlfriend for many years now. Like all this stuff that he's been trying so hard, and just seeing the years of conflict. I think that was pretty darn good.
It was. Yeah. The part where he cries, do you want to tell them why he's crying?
Sure. Let's bring in another character, I guess. Mark. Another Mark. Yeah, Mark's his name. Another pretty great character. He's a poster boy for this place, honestly.
He's kind of like a young Rick.
Yeah. And you can tell that maybe it's working, whatever, or what's,
or that he's really working the system at
the very least, because there are moments where Cameron and her roommate are at odds because Cameron's a little more, well, I'm not really Christian, I'm here because I have to be, I'm gonna do what I can to whatever, and her roommate's a bit more brainwashed than she is, and it's a little more antagonistic. And Mark, a couple times, or at least once, memorable time, stepped in and was like, hey, here's the word that I know will affect you so that you don't do this thing to Cameron. And you can tell he's just like, got it. He knows exactly what he has to say, how to say it. He figured his place perfectly out. And he's wonderful.
Yes. A particular part where he does something like that is when him and Cameron are working in the office, and she's like doing paperwork and he's doing something, and he asks her like, hey, do you believe in God? Like they have this little chat, I guess, and you can see that he's trying to like help her be maybe kind of like him, like you have to at least kind of try to get out of here, you know?
Yeah, like sort of pass on the lingo. Like you have to know how to pass.
Yeah, but in doing that, you can really tell that he's trying to be chipper, and he's trying to smile, and like, hey, I get to go home at the end of fall semester, and I'm doing so good here. I love girls. And then at the end of that scene, you can see his smile kind of like fall, and like his jaw clenches, and he's just, you can tell it's fake. He's really unhappy. And then he doesn't get to go home at the end of fall because the dad says, you're too feminine still, and I can't have that in my house.
He specifically remarks on it being a weakness. You can't have that weakness in his home or something like that. And there's another really good scene.
This is my favorite scene, or at least one of them, is when they're at Circle, and Mark expresses his feelings on his dad telling him he can't come home in the fall, and he reads
passage, excerpt?
A passage, yeah. A passage from the Bible that's his father's favorite. I don't recall it right off the top of my head, but I know it's like, there's a thorn in my side, praying for God to take it away, but God's saying the thorn is there to make you stronger, because in weakness you find strength. Mm-hmm. And Mark's like, I'm weak right now, apparently, so why do I not feel strong? Mm-hmm. And he just keeps saying that over and over and over and over again, and getting really loud and, like, passionate about it. And then Lydia, this doctor, he's, like, doing push-ups, you know, trying to, like...
showing off his strength. Like, it's a whole theatrical thing. Like, he stands up, he performs this mm-hmm. passage, gets down and just starts pumping out push-ups to prove his strength. Mm-hmm.
And he's making sense, and Dr. Lydia does not like that. She doesn't like that he's making these points that are going to make the other kids in the circle say, hey, he's right. Mm-hmm. Like, especially, what are we going to do about this?
Especially with him being such a, like a beacon of, like, this is an ideal child for this program. Mm-hmm. And then just showing up in this state, emotional state. That's gotta be mm-hmm. a bit of a hit for everybody there. Yes.
And while he's doing the push-ups, he won't stop because he's so excited. The doctor, with her heels, just kind of like takes one foot and stomps on his back. And mm-hmm. she's like, I'll let you up when you can control yourself. And in doing that, I can't tell if he, like, had a bloody nose because she stomped on him so hard and he's, like, face hit, or if it just, like, pushed all the air from him and it just kind of like he had to gasp, but it really affected him. And mm-hmm. it really showed, like, through the movie you can tell how much power and manipulation she has over everyone, but in this scene you can really tell how much she kind of has a hate for these kids, really. Mm-hmm. Like, she's disgusted by them.
Yeah, she needs that control. She needs that power over them because of this whole situation. And yeah, the bloody nose thing, it was after she had stepped on him, he does one more push-up and pushes her off, and then his nose starts to bleed. It was from the strain, like pushing someone off you while doing a push-up. That's not easy. And it was good. That was a hearty scene. Mm-hmm. Honestly, this movie is pretty much wolf of a scene, like woo, mm-hmm. from one to another.
Yes. Wrapping back around, because I know we got stuck on Mark, he is the reason Rick cries.
Mm-hmm. Because Mark, after all of this progress, after all this, I don't know, potential and almost being able to go home and be himself for a little while, he gets this letter and he's clearly upset, and nothing's that's done about it, really. He just gets sent back to his room, gets whatever. And that night, he tries to
hurt himself very badly.
And he mutilates his genitals, essentially, and gets taken away to the hospital. And it's the next day, everyone's reacting to this, and it's hard. Mm-hmm. People are having a hard time dealing with this horrible thing that happened. And it was fucking good.
Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, well, what happened to him? Like, yada yada. And Rick is like, what? Enough questions. I'll come to you one by one. We'll have a chat. We'll counsel, whatever. And Adam, one of the friends that Cameron has grown to care about, was Mark's roommate, so he saw everything.
Mm-hmm. He's the one that found him.
Yeah, so he's pretty...
shook up.
Yeah, he's pretty shook up by it.
Adam's my favorite character.
He's pretty great.
But we'll get back to him in like a second. After everyone gets sent to the room to have an individual chat is when we get Rick's big tearful moment, because him and Cameron have a little chat about what happened. He explains the whole genital thing, mm-hmm. and her reaction is more of a, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You knew he was not in good place. Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you help him? Do you even know what the fuck you're doing? Mm-hmm. And he just breaks down crying, like, because he feels, one, awful that this happened to that child because of so many reasons, and two, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just trying to get by like the kids were.
Yeah, he's just there because his sister is basically making him do it.
Mm-hmm. And it's such a good crescendo of emotion.
Like, he would have rather probably talked to Mark and, like, told him, hey, let's just leave. Let's just Move out. I'll raise you, and we'll be friends.
You'll be my wonderful gay son, and we'll have a beautiful gay life together.
Mm-hmm.
But no, instead, it's sad. And yeah. But those aren't the only characters. There's a lot of really good ones, and a lot of them are pretty minor.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the roommate, who would seem like an important character, and she is to some extent. There's some tense moments with her.
Yeah, she's a very odd girl. In a way, like Mark, she's trying really hard to get out, except instead of kind of putting up this veil like Mark, she is actually like doing the steps, and saying that like it's God calling to her, and it was because of watching sports with her dad so much that she has this gender confusion, and she gets mad every time Cameron, I guess, doesn't really try as hard. But there are little bits where she's kind of like, I'm still coming.
Yeah, no matter how brainwashed you are, I guess the gay kind of just comes on through once in a while. One particular night, I guess Cameron's having a spicy dream, and it wakes her roommate up into a spicy experience altogether, and they have a bit of an encounter. And yeah, it's this character is just so, I don't know, sporadic. Mm-hmm. She's clearly involved in this entire like system. She's all in. She's trying not to be gay, and it's I think for watching her is one of the more like uncomfortable, because it's so clearly like, ooh, this is not gonna end well for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some of the other characters are pretty minor. There's a nice lady who likes to sing. She's
Helen.
Yeah. She also has a moment with Cameron where it's like, why don't you ever feel anything? And it's a lot of that. There's a lot of people just sort of reacting to each other's energy and the emotions in the room. But the other two characters that I would say really matter are Adam
and Jane.
And Jane. Adam is a Native American kid.
Yes, he's two-spirited.
Yeah, which is not equivalent to, but like connected to transgender and all sorts of other things.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it. All I know is that in the movie he says that he has two spirits, the spirit of a male and a female, and the female is like killing or taking over the male part of him.
Mm-hmm. And Jane, who I guess lived in a cult for a while.
I mean, she lived in a commune, and they grew weed, and she helped with that when she was a child.
Which apparently somehow had an adverse reaction to her sexuality.
Yes, and her parents having an unconventional relationship. And in this scene, when they say that, you see her sitting on a picnic blanket, like, I don't know, playing with toys or something. And behind her is, like, her mom and dad and another woman, and they're all macking out.
That was another dude, I think.
I don't know. Either way, there's 3 people.
And they were going to town.
And you only need 2 people to have a baby.
Yeah.
In most cases. I mean, I don't know.
Also, like, I'm all for that, obviously. I'm a big proponent of polyamory or just any sort of sexual experience you want. But, like, I don't think I'd be comfortable macking out that hard in front of
in front of your child? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a commune. They're all about free love and everything. And, I mean, having Jane be around that is just going to teach her that it's okay, you know? Like, it's fine to express your love for someone.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all good. Still, I'm not going to bone in front of my 4-year-old.
They weren't going that far.
I know. I'm just saying. I think the idea of that just creeps me out, because, like, the idea, it makes me think of me as a child watching my parents make out, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's why she's there. She also has one leg. It's not really part of the plot. She just has it, and it's very useful for hiding stuff in, and it's really kind of funny.
Yeah.
That's
it.
She smuggles stuff around the camp in her fake leg, and it's
mainly candy and weed.
Mainly candy and weed. She's the funniest character. I like her a lot.
And when you get to the part where Cameron gets to the camp, you think, oh, this is Cameron's actual new love interest. Mm-hmm. Except they don't really become love interests, because just because you're gay doesn't mean you love every other gay person that's out there.
True.
They just become really good friends.
Yeah, and it's a very nice friendship, honestly. It's very supportive, and within the first few scenes where, like, beyond just seeing the character, but the first few scenes in which they actually interact, Jane almost immediately goes, oh, your friend didn't have to... She brought up her friend, and Jane was immediately, oh no, she's trash.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't even know anything that happened. She just instinctively was like, this girl sounds like bad.
Yeah. Jane was like, no, Coley did a bad thing to you. Like, don't feel guilty about what you did, because Coley is the one who is a coward and who turned you in, and she's a snitch, she's a rat, she's... Like, she did it too. It's not just you. But Cameron, at this point, she still feels... She's like, well, what if it is me? What if I am the monster? What if I am the gross, perverse one that did this to Coley, and now I've screwed up her life and messed up my own?
All sorts of like self-hatred and confusion. It's a really good reflection of like an internal monologue throughout this entire movie, and her Jane and Adam are the most, like, at least for me, relatable characters in the show, where it's just like they know everything here is crap, and unlike some people who are trying to like go through the system and just kind of make their way out like Mark was, they're just like, I'll be here and I'll follow the rules, but also fuck you in this entire place.
And like, they're both realistic, because I feel like there is a lot of people who go to those camps and try really hard to get better and try to become straight, because they have that family or that community that they really care about still, and who they will lose if they are gay. But then there's the other half that they go to these camps and they're like, no, this is wrong. Like, who cares about my community? My community doesn't care about me. Yeah. I'm gay. What about it?
Exactly. Had a tickle in there.
That's gay.
I don't even remember what I was gonna say.
I don't know either. I like the ending. It was very open-ended, but I did like it.
I thought it was appropriate. Hated it, though, for so many reasons.
Oh, yeah, because it doesn't explain anything.
It doesn't explain anything.
But at least you know they're happy. At least for a second, until they figure out what to do.
So they figure out, oh, now there's life to also deal with in 1990s.
Yeah.
1990s gay life.
Good luck. Whatever place they go to, they can find, like, a small little job. And then all three find a dank little apartment. And not dank in, like, the cool way, but...
dank in the...
musty, wet.
Yeah. I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
We haven't even actually talked about what the ending is. So, like, another spoiler warning, because this is, the climax, the finishing crescendo here. After a few hours, not a few hours, but after a good amount of time of... Cameron and Jane and Adam becoming best friends and seeing their growth and development, and seeing Adam and Jane sort of rebel against this whole machine, and you see Adam get a bit of a personal treatment from the leading camp counselor lady. She's upset with his hair and shaves them, and there's a lot of moments where there's potential for friendship, intimacy, and they're always taken. They always console each other and support each other. And then after Mark's big thing, no one's doing good, and Adam feels pretty bad. They talk about how he feels that
it was his razor,
because Mark didn't even shave, and it was his razor that he used, and he's the one that found them. Like, there was a lot of obvious trauma, and the three of them talk through things and console each other, and eventually decide, yeah, no, we're pretty fucking done with this place.
Yeah.
And they decide to leave. And they do. They just walk away. That's the end of the movie.
They go for a hike and don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
Which this scene is, like, the second half of the scene is really, like, hopeful, really happy, really bright, really fun. But the first half is so sad.
Because here comes Rick.
Yeah.
Rick.
Because they wake up super early. Like, it's still, like, misty out. It's very early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And they're having breakfast in the cafeteria or whatever it is. And Rick comes along. He's like, oh, you guys are up early. What are you going to do? And they're like, oh, we're going on a hike. And he's like, oh, maybe I can come next time. And they're just like,
yeah.
Maybe next time. Yeah, that'd be fun. And Adam's really the only one, like, giving him the time of day, like, trying to talk to him and make him feel good. Yeah, the Cameron and Jane are just kind of like,
yep, we're going.
Yep, being quiet and reserved.
They're trying to hide a secret that they're about to do.
Yeah.
But, like, it's very sad because you can see in Rick just how lonely he is. Mm-hmm. The scene is just they're hanging out eating and stuff, and he joins them. He's like, hey, you mind if I sit down?
Yeah, because, like, he's excited. Yeah. Like, you can tell normally he has breakfast alone, but these kids are up early. He wants to find a friend, even if it's in a 17-year-old.
And, like, then they leave. And the scene just kind of lingers on him slowly eating his cereal. And it's unpleasant and kind of painful.
I think that's the point. Like, it's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable and sad and lonely, just like he is.
Yeah, it did a great job. Mm-hmm. But eventually they leave. And they hike, and they keep on going until they find a pickup willing to throw them in the back and take them to whatever the nearest big city is to
I think it takes place, I think, in Montana. It's based off a book, and I think the book is in Montana. I don't know if the movie is, but...
let's just go for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, take them to the next place that they might be able to find a job and start their lives. They've essentially run away. Mm-hmm. Admittedly, they're about to be 18 years old or so it's not, like...
No one can do anything about it.
Yeah, not for too much longer, at least. And... That's the end of the movie. They laugh at each other. They have a good time trying to flirt with a guy on a motorcycle. And it leaves so many other characters with unresolved things. And there's no neat, like, ending to anyone's story. Even theirs doesn't end. It's just like, well, now we're going to go have other hardships. And it's like, God damn it. This makes sense. This is a good spot to end. But what about her roommate? What about Rick? And I felt bad, and I hated it, but it was very good.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have told Rick, like, hey, we're hiking out of here. You want to come?
Oh, that would have been so cute. But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he would have. He would have been too scared, I think. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, he probably doesn't really know how to do much other than be a youth pastor. Mm-hmm. And that's not really what he wants to do, but...
Oh, maybe one day he'll be able to leave and start his own youth pasture place that's a little more pro-gay.
Yeah.
Like the ones downtown or whatever.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's the whole movie. We talked pretty in-depth about it, which...
Yeah. It was a really short movie. Mm-hmm. A lot happened in an hour and a half. Yeah. And normally it's like hour 45, 2 hours, 2.5, so...
Yeah, it was pretty truncated. And, like, even regardless of, like, everything we've talked about, if you haven't seen it, one, we threw in spoiler warnings, so, you know, that's on you. But two, still go watch it. It's, like, just talking about it isn't as impactful as seeing these emotional portrayals, because they're done very well.
Yeah.
So, I don't really think I need to give, any other final words. I'm giving this like a 10 for me. Like, this felt very strong emotionally. Yeah. And I liked it.
I'd give it a 10 as well. Because I think it was well written. I think the cast was pretty awesome. They all did a really good job of making you feel what they were meant to, I guess. A good job embodying the characters that they were meant to be. And even though the ending was open-ended, I mean, everybody's story is continuing on. The story doesn't end just there, so...
Yeah.
It made sense.
So yeah, go watch it if you haven't. And if you have, let us know what you think about it in whatever comment section exists for whatever medium you're watching or listening to this. And remember to do all the other like, subscribe, share, do whatever we're supposed to do with media. But thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.